At this point, let's just start it. This one, I'll get the link for you here.
All right, so you should be able to type in the podcast channel.
Okay.
So, if not, let me know.
Okay. Yeah, I've got the chat popping up here, and I think it'll let me know in a few minutes once it's officially live.
Yeah.
Oh, let me plug, before I forget, I need to plug my laptop in or else this is going to die real fast.
I should probably plug my phone in. Hopefully I don't cut out in the middle of it. I'll never forget the first one where like I cut out for like a solid 10 minutes. That was fun.
That's plugged in, okay. So it's gonna... Alright, it says it's live, okay. Let me go to YouTube real quick and I'll get the link for it. One of these days after doing this enough, we'll be more on top of it. We can do all this and I can push all the buttons, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I'll do is if people go and watch it later, I'll just go and add a timestamp and be like, hey, the podcast starts at this time. And, yeah, because we're for
I was in for a little bit. Well, and then I guess you'll go add everyone, and then I'll give it 30 seconds, and then I'll start.
Yeah.
Give people some time for it to load up.
Okay.
So, let me change this then. I guess since we're going to talk about Omega, then I wanted to try to do that. What's been fun? Because that seems like something fun we could do. But I guess we can do it. Just keep it quick for the most part. But I'll change it then. I'll do I'll place Omega after the questions. So after the questions, go right into talking about Omega.
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 All right, let's get the...
I'll never forget. I was talking to a friend about her, and he was like, dude, I hate her accent so much. I was like, dude, I honestly don't know what accent she is, but she's like the perfect mix of Australian and British. And then I looked up.
I believe it's New Zealand. I think she has a New Zealand accent.
Yeah, I saw that she was New Zealand. I'm like, wow, that's ironic.
Okay. I'm going to go type in the podcast chat here.
Like I was gonna watch it live on the side and do it on my phone because I like watching the chat, but it's okay.
Okay. There's that. So let me hop back to here. Nope. Not this one. I want to go to this one. Okay. Perfect. Okay. I say give it like 10 seconds and then go ahead and start. Hey, there's Hendo in the chat. Okay.
Oh, so you didn't add everyone?
No, I just kind of typed in the podcast thing. I'm sorry, Discord moves. If you could do it, like my computer moves really slow since I'm streaming this.
Should I ping this the guild or should I just go add everyone?
Just add everyone.
Yeah, they might get a little pissed off, but you know what? That sucks for them.
That sucks for them.
and then I'll give it a couple. After that, I'll give it 20 seconds. All right, that was enough time. All right. Hello, my fellow barbarians. It is me, Rocket Shaw. I'm here with my esteemed co-host, MDA,
What's up, everyone?
and the man who has just been recently promoted leader to Begins, Glermit.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going, everyone? Oh, okay. So, always always first thing we're gonna go over the guild stats. We'll go for BR first, and we did this is last Darkside Geo, and then last two Territory Wars. So we got 22 stars, 36 watt. That's pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie, considering the fact that we only had 36 who can, 37 who can attempt. So we only have one person not finish it. Like that's pretty good, guys. That's like I don't know. I'm not good at math, but like that's 95%, 94%, something like that. It's pretty good. Last two territory wars were a win. One was pretty much, I think it was a full clear. And then the other one was really close. That was an actual
Yeah, that second one was really close. It came down to like the last hour with like spamming some battles there.
Yeah, I remember we were like begging people to just we were preloading ships just to see if we could just take out one, and then we were just gonna throw all our fleets at it. Like that one got down really close. And then I wanted to start doing another thing for returns and keeping up with the Crankcore progress of keeping up with R5s. So as of, I think my date was June. I think it was June 7th was my last date. Since June 7th, we've had 103 new R5 tunes. It's pretty impressive, not gonna lie. It's pretty good stuff, guys. Keep it up. And for age, they also ran Darkside Geo, 16 stars, 26 watt. And for their last two Territory Wars, they were one win, one loss. And I'll leave the begin stats over to Glermit.
Okay, so we ran Darkside Hoth. We had an increase of 3 stars, so we went from 20 to 23, which was really big for us. We only managed one IPD shard. Imperial Troopers, we haven't really got too many farms, so we're quite happy with that. Although exciting for today, Rolo shard just came in and we got 10, so that's an increase of 3 on last time, so that's great. And then Territory Wars, we had 2 wins. One was a full clear, and the opposition didn't clear either of our front walls in either of them. So that's always nice.
Very good, very good. Up next, we'll go ahead and start doing the questions. We had a lot of questions this week, and some of these questions we're really excited to answer for. So I'm just going to go through it in order.
And real quick, right before we start, for those of you guys that are in the chat, feel free to drop some questions in the chat. We will get to them. We have some kind of pre-recorded ones here. We're going to go and answer those. But if you drop any in the chat, we will get to them. But it'll be probably about a segment or two afterwards. I'd say maybe it takes about 20 minutes. I'd say 20 minutes later, we'll get to those.
Yeah, it'll be closer to the end of the podcast.
Yeah, but definitely feel free if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and we will get to them. But it'll just be later in the pod.
All right. First question is from Obi-Wan Chewie. He asks, "What do you recommend farming, Neg or Mal or Malevolence, or should you go for the new counter of those two, the Rebels with fleet with the Akbar fleet? If so, what relic level would you give the Akbar fleet? Does the 6-dot mod have a positive effect on that fleet?" So I guess go ahead and answer kind of like the first question. Would you recommend farming Neg or Mal?
Sure. I guess I'll start here. Um, with regards to fleets here, and I'm speaking as someone who I just recently unlocked Negotiator, and I don't have any of the things really, any of the ships farmed up. So it's basically just yeah, a defense team in GAC. I would recommend go straight for Negotiator and Malevolence. Um, Ships just isn't that diverse of a meta, and those two ships you will be able to get to the top in arena consistently. It's nice having the kind of counter meta, but there is a cap to how well you can do with with the Akbar rebels, and I would say you are going to need them in terms of the viability. You're going to need them in high relics. I would say like relic 5 and higher for all of them, specifically for Biston, just so you can get the speed. But I would say definitely, if you can, farm Negotiator Malevolence, do that first. Do yourself a favor. Um, and this is coming from someone who primarily has Akbar in Arena.
I would,
Uh, oh,
I would
sorry, I
say
didn't mean
that,
to.
like, you're good. I would say this, like, the way I think of both fleets is like one is a high maintenance fleet while the other is very low maintenance. Like for Malevolence, all you really need are the Geo ships and then Houndstooth, and then you could place really good in Fleet Arena with just those three ships. But like with Negotiator, if you don't have Anakin, or if you don't have Rex, or if you don't have a Fives, or if you don't have a Ahsoka or a Plo Koon geared up, then your fleet is going to start falling off, and you really need those key pieces around the Negotiator to make it good. But Malevolence, you really just need 3 or 4 ships, and the ship's just as good. Glamour, you had something to
Yeah,
say?
yeah, you pretty much said what I was gonna say. Like Malevolence, personally, I think is the best ship. That's just my opinion. Obviously, everyone's got the different ones. But if you're talking offense, from using both the capital ships, because I use them both at the moment, I know that with Malevolence, I'm guaranteed a win. Any capital ship I go up against, um, it's just a win. You don't even really need Houndstooth. I normally run Sunfac and then the two droid ships, and then spawn the call in. And that's all you need, because it's mainly because of the ability where you summon a new vulture droid every time you take a turn with your capital ship. The AI doesn't understand that it doesn't have to target them, so you just get out of such sticky situations and always come out with a win. Um, but yeah, I would say compared to Negotiator, the benefit is there isn't as much investment. Like if you want Negotiator, you're gonna need high relics. Like in the end, you need high relic like Anakin, Ahsoka, Fives, Rex. Whereas with the Malevolence, I'm beating Relic 7 and 8 Anakins and Negotiator with Relic 3 Geos. So that it just shows the power difference for me.
Mm, I would I would have to agree. Next question is from Slay. He says, "At what point should you start farming a GL? Is there a certain amount of teams or GP you should have?" And he put in parentheses, "I kind of know the answer, but he wants to know our opinion." So,
I guess I'll start here with this. I'm my personal opinion is that you should have. I prefer wider rosters, um, as opposed to more kind of vertical rosters. So I would prefer to have more teams as opposed to one really, really good team. But you can make arguments for both. I prefer just with regards to being able to be more viable in TB, GAC, TW. The more teams you have, or the more I'll just say G12. The more G12 teams you can have, the more you're going to be able to compete. But there is an argument to be made. Like if you go straight for a GL, you're going to be able to do well in Squad Arena, and that's going to help you progress in the game, but maybe not in other modes. I think it just depends on what kind of player you are. Um, I think you should start farming a GL. Let's just say GP wise. I think realistically, I think you should go around like 3 mil is when you should start, just because of the bloat that it's going to add to your account, and then also like the rate that you need to be able to get resources. If you do it at the beginning of the game, it's going to be tough. So I think you need to have a little bit of a standing so that you have some decent crystal income, and just so that you can kind of expedite the process a little bit. I think like at least over 2.5 mil, preferably like 3 mil. I think is the GP level you should be at.
Yeah.
What about you, Glermit?
No, I think you're pretty spot on there. I would definitely agree. Wider rosters are better than focused. The main reason I say that is just, especially with Conquest, you need a wider roster if you really want to be getting them top rewards, and you don't want to be doing loads of refreshes. And that in itself, for me, is go wide. Uh, Galactic Legends wise, I think you're pretty spot on again about the sort of GP level, because if you start too early, and this is what's kind of happened with my junior account, I've not really got too much going at the moment, and I'm almost at 2 million GP. And like, I don't have, like, if you compare the light side and dark side on my account, I'm getting 3 waves done on light side, and I'm getting max done on dark side every time on TB. So there's like a massive difference there. So thinking back, I would have probably waited a little bit longer and then gone for GL.
I would say like when you're thinking about going for him, a GL, I think there's two things that you have to like look into before you do. Like one is crystal income, because like when you're farming for a GL, you have to think long game. And I think like at most it's going to be like a 6 to 8 month farm at the most. But a lot of this depends on like how much gear do you already have save up, how much do you already have invested into one of them, how much crystals do you get every day, and stuff like that. But if you're going to go for one, I would really say that you want to make sure that you're getting as far as you can in Squad Arena and as far as you can in Fleet Arena. At least in Fleet Arena, if you're taking top 50, you're getting 50 extra crystals a day, which is like, I hate math. That's like 350 crystals a week, which like 350 crystals is, I think, like 10 stun guns, which doesn't seem like much, but when you're farming for a GL, like every little thing adds up. And so your account really doesn't progress a lot when you're farming a GL. And so you have to make sure you just have all your ducks in a row before you start moving on to that kind of stuff. So we'll go next question. This one's from Mandalorian. He just wanted us to talk about the moving up between guilds or down process. So I posted a little thing about it a little while ago, and so it's in our like little rules tab if anyone wants to read it. So basically, if you want to, let's just say for example, you're an age and you want to move up 2 returns. First thing you would want to do is message your guild leader. Basically, say, "Hey, I want to move guilds," and they'll be like, "Okay, that's fine." And then go ahead and message the leader of the guild that you want to go into. A lot of things will happen. One, if you either have to like wait for a spot if one's available, if you meet the requirements of moving up to a guild, but if you don't meet the requirements, then I guess it's just kind of like a regular recruiting process where you just didn't get accepted, and that kind of sucks. But it's pretty simple. It's just talk to your guild leaders, see what's up, that sort of thing. Uh, Next question is, wow, from Slay again. Uh, which account is more viable or beneficial for a guild? An account with one GL or account with multiple legendary characters? So I'll just even say it as a wide account or a narrow or like a very focused account. And I'd go first as like, since I've been like recruiting for a long time, usually wider accounts are always better for a guild, because if you're able to do more things for a guild, you're able to be more valuable. Yeah, it's cool that you're able to help us in territory war by having your GL there, but if you can't really complete any waves in light side Geo, or you don't really help us out in other aspects of the game, it kind of sucks. But that's just kind of my take on it. Is Laramie have anything on that topic or that question?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on which, because obviously there's 3 guilds here. I think it would be slightly different for each one. For begins, whilst we would want wide accounts, obviously the quality is going to be slightly lower because we our GP of the guild's lower, so we're not attracting the big accounts, which you can in returns. So
Mhm.
in our sort of situation, I'd say a more concentrated, slightly more powerful account would be better because our goal at the moment is to try and beat the Sith raid without my senior account kind of doing too much. So to meet our sort of goal, we're better off having a slightly like more focused account. But yeah, as I said, it kind of I think it depends on the guild you're talking about. Like I'm sure that changes for returns or for age. Um,
Yeah.
I guess just to wrap that up here, I think I agree with you, Rock, here. The wider, because at the end of the day, everything that you do in a guild is group focused, and I would say I will agree with you, Glerman, about like the Sith raid. I remember for the longest time it was difficult for us to beat the Sith raid, and if you had someone who had a GL or gas or something like that that can just do chunks of the raid, you're able to get more raid completions more quicker, and you're able to get gear, which is important. But at the same time, I think if you're coming in and you can do, generally with TB and TW, you want to have a lot of viable teams so you can do more combat missions and you can set more teams on defense, or you can, do more things on offense. And it's cool if, you're able to put something on the front wall and do that. But if you're capped out after that, it's just like, all right, that's cool, but um, maybe work on your other teams. So my overall opinion on everything in the game is just I prefer wider rosters as opposed to kind of taller rosters, so to say. But that's just me.
Yeah. Uh, these next two questions kind of run together, but we're going to do them one at a time. And so this one's from Larson. He says, what game mode do you feel like is the most beneficial to focus on? And which one do you feel like is the most fun to focus on?
Oh, that's a good question. The game mode that you feel like is the most beneficial to focus on.
And then which one's more fun?
I think to me, I've had the most fun has been Conquest, but because it's a new game mode, I do want to see CG switch it up a little bit because it can get pretty stale. But I think the idea of it's pretty fun. I think the obvious answer is GAC is the most beneficial just because you get the currency, you get gear, you get a bunch of other stuff, and it's something that it changes throughout the times, and you're able to use all of your roster when you do it. But I know not everyone's a PvP kind of person. Um, I think GAC is the most fun to focus on and the most beneficial. Um, in my opinion, I think it's GAC.
Okay. I would say like the most fun for me is probably a combination between TB and Territory War. Like some TBs, if like the guild we're facing is just like not into it, not really like they don't care, then it's no fun. But like our last TV, that was a lot of fun because it was close. The other guild was trying, like we were like scrambling at the end trying to win it. And then like I don't know, just territory war for me is just territory battle for me is just fun because it's just kind of I guess it's just kind of my thing. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just what I like to do. But honestly, I'm going to take a different approach from you than JC, and I'll say that Conquest is probably the most beneficial because even with like one or two really good teams, you can almost clear the whole thing.
Yeah.
And even like if you really think about it, like even the third box gets you a lot of stuff. Like you get a lot of gear just from the third box. And then if you're on normal mode like me, the scavenger gives off like the gear
Oh,
12 plus.
yeah. The drop rates, like the exchange rates, are really good on those.
Oh yeah, I think it's like uh I don't know what like you would call the gear pieces, but like the data pads, it's like, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 50 for 5, or it's like 75 for 5, and then it's like 120 for like 10. And it's like, that's like good value right there, especially if you're like in a gear crunch and you don't want what's that ship called? What's Mando's ship? I can't think of its name. I'm sorry.
The Razor Crest.
Yeah, if you don't want the Razor Crest or you don't want Cat, then like spending it on gear is good. And then like even when Conquest is not around, if you've hoarded like 200 or 300 credits, every once in a while a stun gun will pop up. 5 stun guns for 75 will pop up. And that's not bad either. And it's a grind, and it takes a long time to get your rewards, but it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like once you get it, it's like it just feels worth it. Like you get a good bang for your buck no matter how much you put in.
Which
Yeah, I
limit.
think I would agree with you.
Mm.
On Conquest, I think I wouldn't say for lower end accounts. Like if you're not close to like 1.5 or 2 million GP, I'd probably say you won't find it very fun, or you might struggle. But once you make it past that barrier, it is fun. You get to try out loads of different teams. You get to try out the data discs, and some of them are really cool. And you also get to face teams you normally wouldn't. Like some of you probably won't go up against like a gas, and you'll be able to face one, and that in itself is quite fun.
Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, or Tusken Raiders. And also the gear is like the boxes you get, the crates are so good. Like on my junior account, I only get the first crate, and that in itself is giving me loads of gear, gives you a Zeta. It's just so good to invest in. But as I said, I don't think you would find it rewarding or fun if you don't have a couple of good teams. Like if you're going in with just gear 10 or 11s, which some of the newer members might have, you might be going in and thinking, what is this? I'm never going to beat anything. And it kind of loses its fun factor. Yeah.
And then the other question that kind of went with this one was from Bowser, and he goes, contrary to the last one, what game mode do you feel like is the least beneficial, fun, and or pointless? And sorry. MDA, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, I'm actually struggling. I actually like all the game modes. Like, I will say, I agree with you. TB is one of my favorite. I like TB a lot. I even like Galactic Challenges. I find it fun to do the different team comps, and it gives you something that you can play without refreshes, which is nice. I think for me, I'll just say, I think everything in the game is beneficial. I think if you put resources into something, you will get resources out of it. Um, I think for me, the least fun is probably Fleet Arena, and that's just because you fight the same teams every day, and there's really no spicing it up. It's just like, this is what this is, and they're releasing new ships, and I hope they keep adding more content to ships. But I think it's I think Fleet Arena for me is the least fun that I have.
Okay. Oh, for me, there's some things that like I don't really like. Like for example, I do not like GAC 3v3. Like when 3v3 rolls around, I join, put my teams on auto, let it auto deploy, and if I win a battle, yay. If I don't win, okay, whatever. But I don't know. There's something about like the galactic challenges that almost seem like mini conquests, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like, oh, cool, it's this mini conquest with extra things that you have to do. And the room for error on like getting the tier 8 or the tier 9 or tier 10 box is like very slim. I think in order to get max box, you have to do every feat but one. I think,
Yeah, it's usually every feat but one.
or like every feat but two, depending on which one you get, because that last one is whack. And if you don't if you don't have the team needed, like some weeks it's like Old Republic, but they make sure that you don't use Old Republic Jedi. So that way you kind of have to use like the Karth lead with like Canderous and all them. Like it's fun and all, but like it sucks when you can't get good rewards from it because you didn't invest in a team. But then you don't feel like you want to invest in a team just to wait 2 or 3 months for those challenges to come back around. Like I'm sorry, I'm not going to invest too much in my Karth lead team just because I want to get 5 Kairos and some mod mats that I can get from like Conquest. But
Fair enough.
it is nice whenever you can get a max box. So like that's what I feel like that's I guess my least fun is 3v3 JC. Least beneficial would be Galactic Conquest. Or like not Galactic Conquest, Galactic Challenge. Alright, Glaire. You're up, bud.
I found this question really hard because I enjoy every game mode in the game. So I don't think I could say what's the least enjoyable. But when it comes to how beneficial things are, I'd probably, after thinking about it, I'd probably have to agree with you, Rock. Like, if you think for the investment you need for the rewards you get from the galactic challenges, it doesn't seem all that great because you would have to make a team for almost every faction. And then sometimes the teams you make, you need to then change anyway, or you need to run 2 different teams to get all the feats done. So by the time you make all those teams and relic them to a level where they can complete the top tier, you might as well. You're not really going to ever make anything back on
Yeah.
that.
Like my whole thing is with the challenges is like don't invest for the challenges, invest for the team. And so like that's why don't invest in an Old Republic Carve team for the Galactic Challenge. Invest in it because you either A like the team and want to do it, or just you're bored, want to have a fun farm or whatever. But I just wouldn't invest in the event. But if the event rolls around and it's a team that you can use, like obviously like your Sith and your Galactic Republic, I would invest in those because those roll around a good bit. M Troopers have been rolling around a decent bit too, but who knows how long we'll have those. But last question here from Cracks. He's got 3. So question number 1 is, how do you avoid preloading in Territory War? Question number 2 is, how do you feel about focus farming a team until it's done and not get distracted? And question number 3, how do you avoid preloading in Territory War? So the answer 1 and 2, basically avoid just put on airplane mode. Like whenever you enter into a battle, let the battle load. The second it loads, slide down on your phone or or click on your computer, whichever one you're on, and just turn on airplane mode. The game will still play because you don't need to play a battle while in airplane mode. And so you're fine. Play the battle, let it go through. If you win, turn off airplane mode, and then the game will register it because you're on Wi-Fi or data or whatever. But if you lose, then you need to close out of the app. And then that way it will stop you from preloading. Now, if you're on the computer and it's a pain in the butt to load back up Nox or BlueStacks, then right before you know you're about to lose, you can just retreat. You don't even have to be on airplane mode to do this. If at any point you hit retreat, the game will not preload you. It'll keep it how it is. And then second question from Cracks, how do you feel about focus farming a team until it's done and not getting distracted? It's pretty tough. I think the 3 of us would kind of agree. It's pretty tough sticking with one project for a while until it's done because, especially in this game, there's so many squirrels, and every once in a while there's someone who will use a CLS team, and you're like, oh man, I wish I could do that. Or someone is, doing a bunch of damage with an M Trooper team in a raid, and you're like, wow, I wish I would have done that. And so there's a lot of things in this game to get, but you won't get there until you finish something. And that's kind of my whole take on it.
Yeah, I would agree. So for preloading, Um, Again, I've gotten pretty comfortable with the teams that I'm going up against and the teams that I'm using. If I with my hard counters, I usually will not enter on airplane mode unless I'm not confident that this team can win. I will say if I know that things are going south and I'm looking at the turn meter and I know that I'm not going to be able to hit the pause and back out in time, I'll flip on airplane mode and then just lose back out. Or I'm usually quick to, if I know I'm like, all right, this isn't going anywhere, back out. Or just even in some cases, if I know that like I can't even flip on airplane mode, I'll just close the app, just straight up close the app, and then you know take it as a loss, and it won't preload the turn meter. Um, yeah, don't preload turn meter. Don't be that person. Second, for focus farming a team, it is really hard. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of just deviated. I had a bunch of Zetas saved up, and well, the Bad Batch looked kind of hungry, and I gave Echo and Hunter their Zetas, and it was it's pretty fun. But I mean, a Gear 8, a Gear 8 3-star Echo and Hunter aren't really doing much, but the Zetas are fun to mess around with, and Galactic Challenges is and GAC. It's nice, but it's hard, but it's one of those things that you will look back and you'll be like, wow, I'm so glad that I stuck through this hard node or this ship farm. I'm so glad that I finished that because it's a pain in the ass to do, but once you do it, it's really good. So just whatever you got to do to stay focused, you just do that.
All
What do
right,
you?
I think you covered preloading and territory war. I don't think there's
Yeah.
really anything else I can really say there, other than don't preload. Um, but when it comes to focus farming teams and not getting distracted, I'll be honest, I'm not good at this. If I like unlock a new character and I like them, I will normally gear them up to like a level where I can use them. It's probably not the best thing to do, but that's just kind of what I like to do. Um, Most recently, I started relicking my Jawas, and now I've had to put them on the back burner. But was it a good idea at the time? Probably not. But like as I said, I'm not really the best for focus farming. Um, but what I would say, if you are gonna try it, at least focus farm with the shards. With the gearing, like if you want to take a break, then you can. It's probably not the best, but what you don't want is to start farming like a character to 7 stars, get them to 5, stop, get someone else to 3 stars, because then you can't even use them in raids. They're just not very good. If you're gonna do it, at least get them starred up, and then if you want to swap and go to someone else and come back, then all they need is the gear. Um, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Next segment is we just got a bombshell from CG. They just announced that Omega's coming to the game, so we might as well, talk about it, read our kit a little bit, talk about, our opinions, our thoughts, and stuff like that. So, MDA, do you have the kit
I do. I have the
for the
kit pulled up. Do you want me to read the kit all the way through, or just kind of give the highlights on it?
uh? You don't have to read the whole thing, but just read her like abilities and stuff like that, I guess.
Sure. So, basically, we got Omega here. She is going to have the Bad Batch and the Clone Trooper tag, which it's going to benefit Bad Batch a lot, specifically Wrecker. Um, but basically, she has um, the basic, two specials, and a unique. Basic. She can double tap if she has some buffs, and she can also put out debuffs. I think specifically blind and daze here, which those are always really good debuffs. Um, she has a new buff and debuff that are being added to the game with her kits, zeroed in and target practice. With zeroed in, Omega can ignore taunts. It's kind of like mark in a way, but it's like I think just specifically for her. And then target practice is basically she can boost her crit chance, offense, and crit damage based off of how many stacks she has. Um, with this, she's able to, with her first special, she's able to remove turn meter, inflict target lock, and then also put the zeroed in debuff. With her second special, um, she has a dispel and stealth. She will give protection up, defense penetration, and turn meter. And then based off if she has certain buffs, she will grant more turn meter, protection over time, which is the one that Watt gives out. Um, and she'll gain target practice. Her unique, she's able to boost her speed and her offense throughout the encounter. And she's based off if she meets certain criterias, she will boost her crit chance and crit damage. Um, and also, whenever, and this will be an interesting. I'm curious to see how this will work in practice. Um, in her unique, while she is stealth, and when another Bad Batch ally uses a special ability, Omega assists, dealing 60% less damage. Um, and the other thing that's cool on her unique is that she will deal 5% more damage for each buff that she has, and 5% more damage for each debuff the enemy has. So she can hit pretty hard, especially with the amount of buffs that Bad Batch has and the amount of debuffs that they're putting out. So um, Bad Batch, definitely, they were really good beforehand, but they definitely needed a more kind of high damage, single target damage dealer. We all thought it was going to be Crosshair, but looks like it's going to be Omega. But Kit looks really good. What are you guys' thoughts here?
Uh, if it's all right, I'll go first. I like him as a raid team almost kind of because of the stacking damage. Seems pretty decent with like. I mean, if you can get our offense high enough, I mean, you do a couple of attacks. I don't know what the cooldown is going to be or how long it's going to be to do
Looks
the
like
attack.
first special has a cooldown of 3, and the second special has a cooldown of 4. However, there is translation, so tech will be able to
Yeah.
reduce the cooldowns.
So, I mean, I don't know in the Rancor if you'll be able to get if you'll be able to get her to 3 stacks fast enough to reduce the cooldown, but I mean, you can potentially get up like I think 20%, 16% extra damage and get a couple of attacks in that way would be nice, especially with the basic. And then I'm not too familiar with Bad Batch, but doesn't one of them call someone to assist or something like that?
Yeah, Echo does. Yeah, Echo has a call to assist. Um, yeah.
So that would be another good way, like just kind of ramp damage up through Omega, however you want to say it. But then, I mean, even though like the TB side of things, like she has a double attack on her basic, which she won't be a hero for the TB, but just double attacking like stack enemies is nice. Double attacking on its own is just really good to have. And then, I mean, they finally have a good damage dealer that can get rid of a droidica and a sniper droid or a commando droid really fast. Because that was what I was hearing from people was I was listening to a podcast where somebody was like, yeah, I went R5 to all of them, and I think he ran like 3 different teams. He ran one with Bad Batch and Rex, one with Bad Batch and Plo, and then one with Bad Batch and Barris. And he was like, no matter what I could do, I just couldn't. I just didn't have the damage output to kill a droidica or a sniper droid because by the time I would get one of them close to like being killed, then they would just one shot somebody and then that was the run. And they were never able to just get the team going. So hopefully this is the missing link to actually make that team very good.
Glurmit, what are you thinking?
I'm more interested to see how they do in Territory War and GAC. Mainly because I think once people start getting Bad Batch up and running, and especially with Omega, I think that it will shift a lot of the meta. That's just my guess. Obviously, I might be wrong. but I think it could be, from what we can see, I think they'll be used as a defensive team, possibly. Problem is I can't really comment too much on because they can have a great kit, but if they don't perform, then it doesn't really matter. But based on what we've seen, I think it's the last piece they would need to be like a front wall defense. I think they'd do amazing. Because that high damage. Then you have all the others that are going to be going to stealth. You've got the protection and health recovery, the mass daisies. They can take people out of stealth on your side. I just think they're going to be a real handful to deal with. And I think it'll be interesting seeing what sort of counters are used against them. Also, stuff like Grievous. I feel like Grievous is going to slowly become the next Geos, where they're strong, but they kind of lose their power, like compared to other things that are on offer.
I mean, even like look at their kit, you got to bring in something that can not only resist debuffs or like get rid of debuffs, but something that can get rid of buffs too, because they got a lot of both going on. They're very buff heavy and debuff heavy, and so it's going to be hard to deal with both.
I think,
but like,
just to wrap this up here with Omega and Bad Batch, I think just to kind of highlight each mode, obviously TB, they're being added as light side heroes, and it looks like they're penciling in Bad Batch to be the cam team. So I think this is going to be just a necessary. Like all four of the Bad Batch are going to get the hero, so they can. I mean, they were already just taking down droid stacks, but like, I think they're going to be an essential light side Geo team. Also, I think they're intending for this to be an early game team, and I don't think they're going to be a good Crankor team. Exposed damage doesn't really do much against the Rancor, and you kind of need more just high damage outputs with Crankor. But I think just for like the Sith raid or the tank raid, I think they're going to be a really good team for doing taking that down. With regards to TW, I agree with you, Guillermo. I think this is going to be a team where Echo's already insanely fast. Their health and protection recovery is insane. And when you're adding now a damage dealer with this, they were already, I think, a top 10 team, realistically. But I think now you're coming to the point where, like, when you put these guys on defense, I mean, what are you using to take this out? Because it's not like you can take in maybe you could have in the past. I'm not familiar with Bad Batch on defense because I don't face them. Not many people have, and I'm not familiar with their counters. But like, let's just say for argument's sake that you could use like Beskar Mando or Braid Jedi training. Well, if you take this in and that's no longer viable, are you having to use like Darth Revan, Jedi Revan, or like you're having to use bounty hunters here? Like you're using valuable offensive teams. It's taking away from other teams, and especially like this doesn't look like they're going to be a clean banner team. I think they're going to be taking banners and stuff. So I think Bad Batch might be going from top 10 to top 5 in my opinion. I think the Omega is going to make them really good.
Well, one more thing I want to talk about with the PvP stuff. I like how they have the protection up. And one thing about like Geos is like real early game Geos are good on defense, but like later game Geos become better on offense because they're almost a 59-60 banner team guarantee. Like that's what's really good of them late game. And I'm wondering if Bad Batch isn't good on defense, will they be a good offensive team for GAC just because they'll get high banners?
For sure.
But that'll be something that'll be kind of more of a, you'll have to see it in action before you can say anything about it. But that's just kind of what I'm kind of thinking about for all that kind of stuff. Just realizing I missed a segment. The Stonk of the Week. That was supposed to be before the questions, but my bad eyes can't read that. So we're going to go with the Stonk of the Week. For the most part, I've been kind of trying to figure out what I really want as like a Stonk of the Week, because a lot of people will post a lot of stonks, which is good and all, but if I talk about everything, we could be here for 10, 15 minutes talking about it. So I'll leave it to like very big unlock of characters like a GL or a Gas or a Malik or something like that. Or I'll leave it to like really cool stuff. I don't know, depending on how I feel. But for this week, we got four people who unlocked the GL. Cracks unlocked Jedi Master Kenobi. Very awesome. Gypsy Danger Bro unlocked SCE. Valis just unlocked Jedi Master Luke today. I think he unlocked him today around like 9 o'clock or something. Well, 9 o'clock my time. And then Singularity unlocked Ray a couple days ago, which I think he unlocked in the same day as Cracks, which was pretty cool. Like two GLs in one day. Like how you how do you top all that? So pretty good stonks, guys. Keep them up. We'll do next segment will be the new people that are coming into the guild. So we've had a decent amount of movement since the last pod. I think we missed a week for the pod. This was 3 weeks. So go through a bunch of weeks of people coming in. So geez, it's a lot. Jeepo61 from Begins. Let me keep on scrolling up through the welcome channel. Bohemia, which turned out to be Seppi. If anyone knows who Seppi is, he kind of pranked all of us and made an alt account for an alt Discord that kind of pranked all of us, which was kind of funny, I guess. Jerpox from Begins, Airborne from Returns, Aries from Returns, if that's how you pronounce it right. I hope so. Fractiosis. That's probably not how you say that, but he's from Begins as well. Welcome. Babu Frick. Yeah, I know how to say that one. He's from Begins. Welcome. Spy with a bunch of E's. I like that one. Very easy to say. From Age. And then let me scroll up a little bit. I got a bunch of mercs that joined. Loopy Bongo from Age. Rugpoo from Begins. And I think that's it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I think that's cool. Hopefully I got everyone.
Welcome, guys. We love to have you here. Contributions have been great. Love to see all the new faces.
Agreed. No matter what guild they're from. We wanted to do another kind of segment to kind of keep it for each week that we want to do, and so we don't really know what to call it yet. But just for the first time, we're just going to call it "What's Been Fun," or I don't know if anyone has a better name. You can let me know. And so basically, all three of us will talk about what we've enjoyed from the game these past couple of weeks. Just like I guess anything cool that we've done, anything if you enjoy doing something like that, if that makes sense. So, Glarm, you want to go first?
Yeah. I've been enjoying trying out GeoTV for the first time on Lightside. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's something different. Not really enjoyed the Droidicas, but no, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed using different teams. There's a lot more strategy, which I like a lot more because with Hoth, even low GP, you can kind of put teams on auto and you'll still full clear all the waves. But with GOTB, you really have to concentrate and work out your strategy, and I've really enjoyed doing that. And also getting to know some of the returns members. That's been quite fun for me as well. So
we've loved having you here. MDA, you want to go next? What you've enjoyed for this past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I would say, kind of to piggyback on what Glermit was saying, I've really enjoyed doing Lightside Geo. I've got now like 2 or 3 teams that can kind of contribute, so it's nice being able to actually kind of strategize and be able to do the waves and stuff. But I would say just kind of the community that we've kind of built here. For those of you who don't know, I always will live stream my GACs in Discord, and we'll all kind of take turns doing our GACs. And we've also been doing that with with TB, kind of doing all that, and just kind of having fun, going back and forth. And um, I know Hendo comes a lot. Glurmit, you're always there. We've had a few other people come, kind of depending on the day. I know that what's convenient for me is not always convenient for everyone else because we're all in different parts of the world. But it's been great. I'd say that's been the most fun that I've had is kind of just talking with everyone and doing TB and GAC.
I would say what I've enjoyed these past couple of weeks has been GAC because I took a little break from GAC because I got burnt out on it. So, like, I think it was 3 months ago, I just said, you know what, I'm just going to throw everything on auto. So, like, 3 months ago was 3v3, and I just said, I'll just join, let it auto deploy. And then 5v5, I wasn't too interested in it. I mean, I did, like, sometimes I would place a team, sometimes I would attack, but for the most part, I just didn't really care for it. And then another 3v3 came around, and so I did the same thing, auto deployed. And but 5v5 now, I'm starting to get back into it, taking it a little bit more serious, scouting my opponents a little bit more, actually trying to, like, I guess, like, think ahead, like, oh, what teams are you going to put on defense? What should I save? What should I put on defense? Where should I place everything? And so far, I'm 3-0. My current opponent just auto deployed, so that should be another dub. So that's pretty awesome. So that's what I've been enjoying recently is just getting some JAC done.
Nice.
I guess we can go to YouTube questions. That's what's left is YouTube questions, and then Kendo kind of threw one in on us last minute in the podcast
Okay.
question channel.
I don't think because Airborne put out a question about bad batch viability, especially with Omega and Crankor, and I think we already touched on that when we were going over Omega's kit. So Airborne, I hope we answered your question there. What was Hendo's question here? I'm sorry, I haven't.
I got it. He's like, I'm late. After completing the gas event and finishing the gas team, should you go for Jedi Master Kenobi?
Oh,
That's actually a good one. I was thinking about because if you really think, you pretty much.
Yeah, do you want to go first? Because you got your. I mean, between you and Glurmit, both of you guys have gas, and I think are going for Jedi Master Kenobi. So I'll let one of you two go first.
Yeah. I don't remember all the requirements off the top of my head, but I know that getting gas almost gets you most of the requirements because you need GK for gas. You need GK for obviously unlocking Master Kenobi. You need Magna Guard for both as well. I mean, you don't need GG, but if you farm up like we said in the last pod, if you farm for gas, then you obviously should just get a GG team. So it just makes sense. But I mean, for the most part, you really don't. There's not a whole lot of overlap in the requirements. But like as a whole, like as a faction, like faction wide, I think it makes sense because I mean, if you get your gas, then you had to get Padme for it. You had to get Shak T for it, which is that's another one that overlaps. So I mean, yeah, you probably should, but it comes back to Slay's question earlier: is like where are you at in your account? Are you okay with taking a bunch of bloat, depending on where you're at? I mean, like there's a couple of overlaps, but there's not a whole lot of overlap. So like, I mean, after gas, there's always a bunch of other projects to go after. But I mean, I like it.
What do you think, Glurmit?
I think it could be a really good decision to make to go for Jedi Master Kenobi after gas. Because I do think if you're going for gas and you've unlocked him, your account's going to be somewhat built up because you have to build so many teams to unlock him and you have to have relics. Also, I think if you're at that point, the thing above gas or Jedi Knight Luke is a Galactic Legend. So if you can get one that will work with the character you just unlocked, then that's a win. Because you can use gas with Jedi Master Kenobi, which I think is really really good. Also, like, if you think what team, because I've been going up against Jedi Master Kenobis in Squad Arena, and normally they're with Gas or Ahsoka, Cam, the other Kenobi, and you get all of those requirements. You could say you get Cam because you get clones. You'll be building up clones for Gas. So if you relic them, by doing Gas first, you would have a pretty good team for Jedi Master Kenobi, because that's one of the arguments for all the Galactic Legends, is that a lot of them don't have the best team as the requirements. Well, you could argue if you go for Gas first, you have the best team ready for Kenobi when you get him. So I think it would be a good idea, definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you there, just because, like, pretty much, like, I mean, every GL is going to have their couple oddball ones, but even still, like, you need Padme for gas, and you can use Geos to get Padme, and Geos get you Watt, and you need Watt for Kenobi. Shakti and clones, that gets you Cam right there, and that's going to be used. You don't need it for Kenobi, but you're going to need it for the team. Everything else, like, I think it's a good stepping stone, and also Gas is just one of those characters is that, like, whether you go for Kenobi, whether you eventually go for Luke, like, Gas is just such a cornerstone character. I think that's a natural progression, and especially because you're going to be more Galactic Republic centered after getting Gas. I I would say, yeah, if that's what you want to do, I don't think you're reaching too much by going for Galactic Legend Kenobi next after Gas.
Okay. MDA, were there any more YouTube questions?
No, I think that looks like that was it.
Awesome, awesome. So we'll go on to our last segment, and then we will call us a do. This is our kind of what you're farming kind of thing, just kind of checking up. If you watched the last pod, you'll know where MDA and I are at, but I guess we'll just give an update on where our farms are at, and then I guess we can figure out what Glerman's doing. So, MDA, you want to start us off first?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I am knee deep in the Jedi Master Luke farm. I recently just, gear wise, I got um, I got Biggs up to Relic 3. I think I got C3PO at Relic 4, so I'm going to take him to Relic 5, but I think I only got a few characters left. I'm gearing up Ray Jedi training right now. But I think I'm at like 8 out of 15 right now. So I think I've got Ray, R2's at gear 12, Princess Leia, Wedge, um, and then I have to farm Mon Mothma and 3PO and Chewie. So that'll be a little bit of a pain. But I'm getting pretty close. So I'm hoping that, like, kind of towards when fall starts, I should be like I should be getting near unlocking um, Jedi Master Luke. Other than that, I would say as a kind of the project after that is for sure gonna be. I'm kind of I'm thinking it's gonna be Bad Batch and Gas. I'm currently hoarding Get One, and I'd say once I get the amount of Get One that I need, then I'm gonna go full on for Gas. But Bad Batch is another one. I really like their team, and especially with Omega coming, I'm for sure it's gonna be right after Jedi Master Luke. All my refreshes are gonna be going into getting the shards and getting the gear for Bad Batch.
Nice, nice. So, unfortunately for my last one, I can't really give you guys an update on where I'm at for my senior account because my computer unfortunately broke. I had put a little safety pin in there on like where the keyboard was and forgot about it. And when I closed my screen, it had cracked the screen, and so I'm having to get that replaced. So that is just most unfortunate. But on my junior account, I'm still on the Kenobi grind. I think last I talked to y'all, I think I got uh Magna Guard is now Relic 5. He's done. GG's Relic 2. Grandmaster Yoda, I got him the Relic. Uh And then Kenobi, I think was I got Kenobi the R7. I think I need 2 more Crankcore raids, and I can get him the R8, which would be awesome. And then
You also got Conquest too that'll get you the
true, but I'm not on the hard
Oh,
mode,
you're not
so
in
I
the hard
can't.
ones, yeah, so you won't get the mats.
Yeah, yeah, which is upsetting. But and then I think that's it for the most part. Everyone else is still the same. I really didn't do much upgrading. I'm working on Django's going to be my next relic, and I think my next Gear 12 is either going to be Cad Bane or it's probably going to be Cad Bane will be my next one because all the other Gear 12s I do or can do kind of suck. But I also started side farming the Y Wing just because I need it for my negotiator fleet. And hey, and it's kind of good timing because I got Wrecker as its tune that I need to farm, which is kind of cool. So kind of getting double dipping a little bit. Yeah, but so that's kind of it for me. Getting a little bit closer on the JMK grind. So, Glarm, you want to go ahead and take it over?
Yeah, it's been an exciting week for both of my accounts. So for any of you that don't know, on my junior account, I'm farming SLKR, and I am about 3 days from relicking Hux, which will be my 4th relic towards getting SLKR. And today, I unlocked Chewbacca at 5 stars. So
Nice.
I have decided to make a detour and build a CLS team, as 3PO and Chewie should be a double drop from the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I've decided I will gear them up and do a CLS team in the meantime. So I'm quite excited about that. And then on my senior account today, I now have all the requirements for Kenobi done and relicked, apart from Bo-Katan, which is relic 4, so I need 1 more relic level there, and Grandmaster Yoda's relic 6, so he needs 2. So I'm about 2 or 3 days from the ticket farm for Kenobi, so I'm very excited about that.
Nice, very good. So I think that's it for all the segments for what we got for today. So anyone else got anything to add that they want to do? Anything they want to touch up on before we close?
All I gotta say is for all you guys out there, we're all in TB right now. Make sure to do your TB battles. Make sure to deploy wherever the TB person tells you to deploy. Get those uh, get those platoons filled, and yeah, go kick some ass.
Agreed. Real quick, want to touch on something with TB with the cam mission for return. So we have like 21 people who can attempt, which I'm pretty excited for. So for all of you who can attempt and are listening, make sure you go through the bots, check the bots. We got like a couple of good bots in there that will show you like what you need. And if you can, please try to stream it because always having an extra set of eyes is good. We posted a link to the 50 Shards of Cam Discord. And when Phase 3 starts of Lightside Geo, they are 24/7. They always have a streamer available for the next 48 hours. So if you want to stream and none of us are on, head over there. Just say, hey, I would like to stream my run. They'll go through, do a little mod review for you, make sure your mods are as best as they can, and then they'll stream the mission and help you out. So, I mean,
Actually, just to piggyback on that, CG actually posted in the forums that there is going to be a forced client update tomorrow, but I was actually able, they did say if it's on your phone or in however, I don't know how it works on the computer, but that update is live and it does fix the bug with Stand Your Ground, which is for the cam mission. So for sure, before you do the cam mission, make sure you do that update because otherwise it will make it next to impossible to do the cam mission. So make sure to get the app updated.
Mm-hmm. But that's it for us. I thank you guys for hopping on, sharing a little bit of time with us, listening to us. So
of course, and thanks Glermit for stopping by and doing the pod with us.
Yeah, thank you for the invite.
Solid. All right, guys. Well, until next time, it's